Alright, let's dive into this whirlwind of boxing chatter and break it down. We're talking about some of the biggest names in the sport: Floyd Mayweather, Terence Crawford, and Canelo Alvarez, and the hypothetical matchups, real fights, and endless debates that swirl around them. The boxing world is buzzing, and it's March 31st, 2025, so we've got a lot to unpack with the latest developments. First off, there's this ongoing saga of Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. For over a year, Crawford's been laser-focused on landing a fight with Canelo, the Mexican superstar who's been a dominant force across multiple weight classes. Crawford, widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters today, sees this as the ultimate test, a chance to move up to 168 pounds and take on the undisputed super middleweight champ. It's a fight that's been teased, debated, and finally, it seems, locked in for September 2025. The road to get here was rocky, though. Canelo nearly threw a curveball by considering a bout with Jake Paul, the YouTuber-turned-boxer, before the Crawford fight got sealed at the last minute. Now, the boxing community split. Some think Crawford's biting off more than he can chew jumping 2 weight divisions, while others believe his skill could outshine Canelo's power. Floyd Mayweather's voice looms large in all this, as it always does. The retired legend, with his perfect 50-0 record, has history with Canelo and a growing interest in Crawford. Back in 2013, Mayweather handed Canelo his first professional loss in a light middleweight title fight. Floyd was 36, Canelo was 23, and what many expected to be a close contest turned into a masterclass. Mayweather outboxed him over 12 rounds, winning by majority decision, though one judge's 114-114 scorecard left fans scratching their heads. Reflecting on it years later, Floyd didn't mince words. He was nothing. A cakewalk. Easy. He's dismissive of Canelo's abilities, claiming he was almost 40 and still cooked the younger fighter with ease. It's classic Mayweather, confident, brash, and unbothered by the praise Canelo's earned since. Fast forward to now, and Mayweather's got his eye on Crawford. In a recent joint interview with a reputable news outlet, Floyd and Terence sat down to hash out the eternal question: who's the best? Naturally, neither backed down. Mayweather's long called himself the greatest ever, while Crawford's confidence is unshakable. He said there's no one he couldn't beat in the ring, including Floyd. But there's a layer of respect there too. Crawford's admitted he sees Mayweather as an idol and hasn't spent much time fantasizing about fighting him. Floyd, on the other hand, flipped it into a challenge. "Bud, you and I can get in there and settle it once and for all." It's the kind of bait that gets fans salivating, even if it's unlikely to happen anytime soon. Why's Floyd pushing this? For one, he's still active in the exhibition circuit. In August 2024, he took on John Gotti III in a rematch in Mexico City. 8 two-minute rounds of Mayweather domination, no knockouts, no drama, just boos from a crowd that wanted more action. It was a far cry from their first fight in 2023, which ended in a brawl after the ref stopped it early. Floyd's made these exhibitions a yearly ritual since retiring, facing everyone from Logan Paul to Japanese kickboxers. He's hinted at a 3-fight exhibition deal in the works, and he'd love one of those to be Crawford. But with Crawford locked in for Canelo in September, Floyd might have to wait, or pivot to someone like Jake Paul, who's expressed interest in fighting him. Meanwhile, Crawford's camp is all in on Canelo. His trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, is as confident as ever, though he admits his bias. "Terence is like my son, so I'm always going with him." Bomac believes Crawford's got the dog in him to outlast anyone, even a prime Mayweather. If we're talking primes, Floyd's defensive genius versus Bud's relentless aggression, it's a tantalizing what-if. Bomac concedes Floyd might be the smarter fighter, but he bets on Crawford's grit breaking through. It's a debate that'll never die, but right now, Canelo's the real target. Canelo's no slouch, of course. Since losing to Mayweather, he's racked up titles at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, even going undisputed at 168. His next fight, before Crawford, is set for May 3, 2025, against IBF champ William Skull in Riyadh. A win there could make him a 2-time undisputed champ, adding more fuel to the Crawford showdown. Crawford's take? He thinks Canelo's been holding back in recent fights, against Jermall Charlo, Edgar Berlanga Jr., and others, out of respect or lack of motivation. But against him, he's going to be the best Canelo we've seen yet, Crawford predicts. He's not banking on a knockout, but he's not ruling it out either. Mayweather's got thoughts on Canelo's power too. Reflecting on their 2013 fight, he shrugged it off, not at all. It's nothing I haven't felt before. He points out he was over the hill at 36, yet still handled a 23-year-old Canelo with ease. It's a dig that might boost Crawford's confidence. Canelo hasn't stopped an opponent in his last 5 fights, and Floyd's implying his power's overhyped. Still, Canelo's a bigger guy naturally, and moving up to 168 could test Crawford's limits. Remember when Canelo flattened Amir Khan, another smaller fighter who jumped divisions? Some see a repeat coming. The Crawford-Canelo fights got layers beyond the ring too. For Crawford, it's about legacy and cashing out in what might be his final run. He's already undisputed at 140 and 147. Beating Canelo at 168 would cement him as an all-time great. For Canelo, it's a chance to prove he's still the king, silencing doubters who think he's coasting. Mayweather's lurking in the background, hyping Crawford as the current pound-for-pound best while downplaying Canelo's resume. As of right now, I'd put Terence Crawford as number 1, Floyd said, a stark contrast to his cakewalk take on Canelo. Let's circle back to that Mayweather-Crawford hypothetical. If it ever happened, say, in an exhibition, Floyd's 47 now, well past his prime, while Crawford's still in his. Floyd's exhibitions lean on his jab and defense, conserving energy, avoiding risks. Against Gotti, he coasted. Against Logan Paul, he carried the fight. Crawford, though, he'd bring heat Floyd hasn't faced in years. Prime for prime, it's tighter. Floyd's elusive style versus Bud's adaptability and power. Fans will argue it forever, but Crawford's got bigger fish to fry first. The boxing world's got its eyes on September. Canelo versus Crawford could be a classic. Skill versus size, precision versus power. Mayweather's commentary will only add spice, whether he's praising Bud or burying Canelo. And if Crawford pulls it off, Floyd might just step up his exhibition pitch. For now, though, it's all speculation until the bell rings. One thing's sure, this trio's keeping the sport alive with every word, every jab, and every what if. The conversation surrounding Floyd Mayweather, Terence Crawford, and Turki Alalshikh has sparked intense debate within the boxing world, blending speculation about weight classes, potential exhibitions, and blockbuster fights with Canelo Alvarez. It all begins with an observation about Mayweather's fighting weight. Some argue he shouldn't be competing at 147 pounds anymore, nor even at 154. Instead, they suggest 160 or 168 pounds might suit him better now, especially considering his age and career trajectory. This perspective ties into the broader narrative of fighters adjusting their paths as they collaborate with figures like Turki Alalshikh, Saudi Arabia's influential entertainment chairman, who's reshaping boxing through the Riyadh Season Initiative. Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated 50-0 legend, recently met with Alalshikh to discuss elevating his exhibition career, with a potential matchup against Terence Crawford topping the agenda. This meeting wasn't just a casual chat. It was a collision of two titans of the sports business side. Mayweather, now 47, sees this as a chance to settle a long-standing debate among fans. Who's the better fighter, him or Crawford? Crawford, an active pound-for-pound elite with an unblemished record, is the closest modern parallel to Mayweather's dominance. For Floyd, this isn't just about legacy. It's about a massive payday and silencing doubters in one fell swoop. The backdrop to this is Crawford's own ambitions. Fresh off becoming a 4-weight world champion by defeating Israel Madrimov in August 2024 for the WBA super welterweight title, he's eyeing a mega-fight with Canelo Alvarez. That bout, however, remains elusive, with financial demands and scheduling hurdles complicating negotiations. Meanwhile, Mayweather's interest in an exhibition with Crawford offers a different kind of spectacle, one that could capitalize on their respective legacies without the stakes of a sanctioned title fight. Mayweather's visit to Saudi Arabia to meet Alalshikh underscores their mutual stature in boxing. Alalshikh, a key figure behind Riyadh Season, has been praised by Mayweather and others for his vision. His Excellency has spoken glowingly of Floyd's career, noting that an undefeated record like his is a once-in-a-generation feat. This admiration was evident when Alalshikh, alongside UFC President Dana White, hinted at simplifying boxing structure, potentially reducing the emphasis on losses and creating new opportunities for fighters. For Mayweather, though, the focus remains narrower, a lucrative exhibition to cement his greatness. Yet, Crawford's path isn't so straightforward. His dream fight with Canelo has been a roller coaster of negotiations. Alvarez, the unified super middleweight champion, once demanded $150 million to face Crawford, a figure Alalshikh dismissed as unrealistic, accusing Canelo of chasing easy fights post his loss to Dimitri Bivol. Crawford, undeterred, sees the Canelo fight as the pinnacle of his career, both financially and competitively. "That was my motivation," he admitted when the talks faltered. Alvarez, however, has downplayed the matchup, suggesting Crawford first face someone like Jermall Charlo and focusing instead on his September 2025 bout around Mexican Independence Day. Alalshikh, frustrated by Canelo's stance, shifted gears. In a late Monday night post on X in 2024, he announced he was done pursuing the Alvarez-Crawford fight. Instead, he's doubling down on the U.S. market, promising bigger fights for Crawford and promoting other stars like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Gervonta Davis. His Riyadh season plans remain ambitious, with cards like Anthony Joshua vs. Daniel Dubois on September 21, 2024, and Alexander Usyk vs. Tyson Fury 2 on December 21, 2024, already in motion. Crawford, sidelined by a minor injury, won't return until May 2025 at the earliest, per Alalshikh's update on The Ariel Helwani Show. Mayweather, meanwhile, keeps his focus elsewhere. In a sit-down with Brian Mazik, he brushed off questions about Alalshikh and the Riyadh season trend of fighters chasing Saudi paydays. "I don't know, I've never met him. He seemed like a pretty cool guy," Floyd said, emphasizing he can't speak to other situations. His priority? His own investments, real estate, a supplement line called One of One, and fitness gyms he's expanding globally. Health, he stressed, is true wealth, a lesson from his career he's passing to the younger generation. "Invest in what you can reach in a reasonable time," he advised, favoring U.S.-based ventures where he understands the laws over unpredictable foreign markets. This philosophy contrasts with the international pull of Riyadh season, where Alalshikh's deep pockets have lured fighters with unprecedented purses. Crawford's debut under the banner against Madrimov showcased this, with a ring ceremony honoring Alalshikh mid-event, attended by promoters Eddie Hearn and Oscar de la Hoya, highlighting his growing influence. Yet, Mayweather remains unmoved, fixated on an exhibition with Crawford that could dwarf these efforts in hype, if not competitive stakes. The Crawford-Canelo saga, though, keeps bubbling. Alalshikh recently reversed course, telling DAZN he'd offered Alvarez a deal. If he's smart, he'll accept it. Canelo, focused on his immediate fight, rebuffed talks, telling Hearn he's not ready to discuss Crawford for February 2025. "I'm 100% focused on this fight," he said in New York during a press tour, hinting Alalshikh's public pivot might be a reaction to his reluctance. Still, the prospect of a late 2025 showdown, perhaps September 16, aligning with Canelo's tradition, looms large, promising one of boxing's biggest gates ever in Las Vegas.